What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Fudge Effect. It is your host, Mario Malave, and it's been a while. It's been almost a month now. Sorry for the time off. It was finals week and that time of the semester, I guess you could say, and I really had to crunch down, make sure that I was honing in on my whether it's work, like actual work, schoolwork, whatever it is I was doing. I know a lot of people that were either in my classes or I went to school with or I wanted to have on the podcast. I couldn't really have them on because everybody was busy and everybody was crunching down because it was just that time. But we are officially done with year 3 of college, and it's been a whirlwind to say the least. The fact that we've got to this point, it's been an absolute blessing. It's been uh, a really fun ride to say the least, and it's just crazy to think that I took this gap year after high school, and I guess you could say the stars aligned, everything worked itself out. You just got to take it one day at a time, and you got to go from there. I don't know exactly how my hair looked the last time you see me. I don't even know if I've worn a t-shirt on the podcast. I know I got the tattoos out if you're watching on YouTube. And speaking of YouTube, if you are watching, please be sure to subscribe, like, hit that notification bell, whatever it is you want to do, spread the word about this podcast. Then I truly believe that if you give me enough time, and whether it's listening to my voice enough or you see the episodes I have with certain guests on, you will learn to eventually like this. If you just give me a chance. Just give me a chance, and I'll make sure that your ears will be soothed to the best of my ability or whatever it is that you're exactly looking for when it comes to me. Uh, so yeah, year three's been amazing, but man, lots of loss this year in terms of the things I like. The Bengals losing the Super Bowl, which I'm still not over, and it's weird to just say that out loud to myself when it's just me talking. Um, Italy lost. My rec team lost for basketball, which was so unfortunate because we were the 1 seed, and we got bounced by the 8th seed in the first round in double overtime, which is a whole nother story for another day. That really annoyed me, and it was just so frustrating to say the least. Uh, my then I also did softball, and we ended up getting bounced. The team was okay, if I'm being honest. I mean, I was okay myself. I know how to play baseball, softball, but my body just I stopped playing when I was a kid, so I'm still getting the mechanics down. I think I'll play men's softball or whatever it is I want to do in the future. But for now, just really worrying about school. I took Photoshop, well, a communication technologies class, and I learned so much about Photoshop, so much about uh, Adobe Premiere, Dreamweaver, certain audio and Photoshop editing apps and tools that I think is really going to help me kind of get better in the production field of this thing. But I'm still just a baby in this world. My goals are just trying to stay consistent throughout the summer, stay consistent throughout the rest of my life when it comes to this, because I genuinely want to give you guys an opportunity to see just one person. There's 7 billion people in this world, and I'm just one person. And whether you know me well, don't really know me at all, and you just are tired of hearing the same thing, and you just want a different aspect of life, just a new voice to finally hear in your life, hopefully I'm the person that gives you that spark, that gives you that reason to have a productive day. Enjoy whatever it is you're doing for the day, week, month, whatever, and we kind of just get on a routine here. Because that's one of the hardest things in life. It's a routine, and I should know that. After high school, when I was playing football, and I had to wake up at 6 a.m. every day, whatever it is, and I had to go to a morning lift or go to school, then practice after. Once that's over, it's hard to stay disciplined and to stay to a self-taught, self-fulfilling schedule, I guess you could say. And it's hard. And there's a lot of people out there that can stay consistent, and all power to them. I have the highest respect for those people. But for those that are still trying to get out of the mud, it's okay because I am too. And I'll be honest. I mean, I gained a lot of weight since I last graduated, but I was also playing football and playing sports like that where you're constantly moving, and then it's over and it just stops. It's very easy to slip up. And I know I've gained weight. I mean, I embrace it. I mean, I don't care. I mean, God, I don't want to be a my 600-pound life by any means, but whether I'm 180, 300 pounds, 250, 220, I'm not going to let my weight decide if I'm happy or not. It's okay, you can. And for me right now, like, I'm happy, but I'm not satisfied. At some point, I want to cut. I expect to cut this summer a good amount. I want to get my routine and my schedule going. But everyone's got their battles they deal with mentally, physically, whatever it is that you deal with. You're not alone in your battles. I just want you to know that. I also took a public speaking class, and that was pretty interesting. I took that class, and I had to give speeches about. Well, my last one I did social media, and that one was kind of frustrating because I felt like I could have really entertained my class. I mean, I felt like I did, not trying to sound cocky. I felt like I did for the most part when it came to my speeches and my presence in the classroom. And I know that I had this, but I didn't really want to push my podcast onto the class too much because it's different. Yeah, you're talking and other people are listening to what you're saying after it's posted and after it's out, but it's not like you're doing it live. For me, this is a way of cheating because I don't want to say I'm shy, because if I get to know you, I mean, I genuinely think I could be the light in a room, to say the least, with the right people in the right group. But if I'm with a bunch of strangers, I'm kind of the person, if you want to use the party example, where there's the people who are doing, the people who are observing, the people that are whatever it is. I like to think of myself as an observer. If I'm at a party, I'd probably just be off to the side, just watching everybody do their thing. And yeah. So when it came to public speaking, I talked about social media for my final speech, even though I really felt like I could have did something much more creative, much more fun. But I just couldn't really think of it, because when you're very creative and you want to go a certain way about things, it's very hard to just settle down on one thing. And so there was that. I gave a speech about why children shouldn't be allowed to play contact sports. I even said just now that I played football when I was younger, and with all the concussion and CTE things coming out, I didn't play until high school. I did not play contact football until I was a freshman, and I think that, Lord willing, if I were to have a son, I probably would give him the same path I did. As much as I love my dad, he didn't really teach me too much about the proper stances and techniques when it came to football. So if I had a kid and they wanted to play, I'd probably teach them everything they need to know and then go from there. And yeah, so I gave a speech about that, which was pretty interesting, and I had to pull up the statistics and all that stuff to prove my case, to persuade my audience, because it was a persuasive speech. I don't necessarily know if I'll go through with that. I mean, maybe I'll let them play if they're kid. I don't know. Football's a dangerous sport. Yeah, I played, and sure, it gives you a chance to make life-lasting friendships and stuff, but man, the risk-reward ratio is just ridiculous, especially given the odds of a person even going pro and the odds of them even lasting in the professional world is just, it's unreal. Having a kid who becomes an all-star in any professional sport is like hitting the lottery. Seriously. So I had public speaking, I had communication technologies, I had interpersonal communications class with this pretty laid-back professor. That class was pretty simple. I had an organizational communication class, which I would say was my most challenging class. I don't think I had a super rough straight-up class. I just think when it came to the exams, little difficult, not gonna lie. I'm the type of person, and sure, maybe I could have studied harder, but who couldn't in this world? When it comes to exams and tests, my whole life I've never really been the best. Sometimes, on certain days, I'll click the day of the test, but there's just times where I'll study, and I'm looking at the paper or whatever, and I'm just dazed out. Like, I don't know what I'm looking at here. That's why I had a bad SAT. Well, to be fair, I didn't study for my SATs, and I ended up paying for. I really didn't pay at all because when I say pay, not in terms of money or currency, just you paid the price. You know that saying because it's a bad look for colleges. It doesn't matter. The way I think about colleges nowadays is if you if you want to go to college, there's many, 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 many routes you can take. You don't have to have the greatest GPA. I'm not saying you shouldn't study and work hard in school because you should. But you don't if you're not an all honors student who gets to wear all those not rolls, but all those things that you wear around your neck for graduation, and compared to the other people, if you're not wearing those, don't worry about it. Doesn't mean you're gonna be a bum and they're gonna end up being the richest person in the world. It could be the complete opposite. Who knows? It's all about how hard you put in work in this world, and it's all about finding whatever it is you want to do and capitalizing off of that. I yeah, so I literally didn't do good at all on my SAT because I didn't even know what I wanted to do in my life, and everything still worked itself out. I promise you, I'm living proof of that. Sorry, I keep looking down if you're watching me. I'm just grabbing my football. Speaking of football, I was thinking because I had a page that I used to work on my speech to mic type of style. I was working on that through a page that I made called Into the Bangleverse. And I think I'm going to incorporate that with this every football season. Like I said, I plan on doing this or I plan on doing this as far as I can see for the rest of my life. Will there be times where I might not post a while? Possibly. I don't want that to be the case, but possibly. And I just think that when it's football season and every Monday you wake up and I'm talking about my team or whatever, and it's just a voice you're hearing vent, if you want to hear that, by all means. But I think that's what I'm going to do. Or I might get some people to work with me on like a football season type of joint type of deal. We'll see where that goes. Um, I was so for those of you who don't know this, I like to plan ahead, and there was I have a movies and shows unwatched list. Oh yeah, and we haven't talked about Moon Knight since the last time we spoke, or the last time I spoke to you guys. Excuse me. I had Josh on from the last episode. Hope you enjoyed that. If you haven't, I advise you go check that out. It was a great conversation with a dear friend of mine. But so Moon Knight came out on Disney Plus. That show was tremendous. If you haven't gotten into Marvel or just fell out of touch with Marvel, I promise you, man, Marvel's amazing. The storyline they have going with all the movies and the way they interconnect with one another is just chef's kiss. It is just amazing. But I also have watched some shows and some movies that I finally got to check off my list. And one of them I saw recently. I'm going to talk about some of the other ones. It was Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. And I actually didn't put it in this list, but it should be. Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, I believe it's a 1960s film with who I believe it was my grandmother's favorite actress at the time, Katharine Hepburn, who I believe is a legend in the film industry back in the day. And she plays as this mother of a daughter who pretty much goes on vacation and is coming back home with a black guy. And he's much older than her, but back then, age gaps were more like they weren't seen. It wasn't as bad a look as it is now. So yeah, so she brings home this black guy, and there was also a parody of this movie. It was still sort of had the same meaning, but it was a little funnier because it was Bernie Mac called Guess Who with Ashton Kutcher, Bernie Mac, and I forget who the girl was. That was the daughter of Bernie Mac because it was the roles were reversed in that movie. Bernie Mac, so it was a black family bringing home a white guy, whereas in Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, it's a white family bringing home a black guy during the 60s, and we all know throughout history how interracial marriage wasn't really a thing back then because nobody thought that barrier would be broken. So I saw that movie, and for a 1960s film, It's kind of like when you watch The Wizard of Oz. It really hits different. I'm not gonna lie, and I'm not gonna say I almost teared up a bit, but I felt really emotional because it reminded me of my grandparents who are no longer with us, but it reminded me of them, and I felt like I was honoring their memory and what they've talked to me about because they've told me about that movie, and my grandma's always talked to me about Katharine Hepburn, and she was a great actress. There was a scene that she really killed. I feel like she genuinely believed like she was in that role. It was when her husband was talking about what he felt about the marriage towards the end and how it shouldn't matter what skin color you are, just as long as you love each other. And it was a really beautiful thing. And uh, yeah, that was a really good movie. I highly recommend that you watch that movie. Like I said, for a 1960s movie, tremendous. What else did I see? Let's take a look here. I also saw. Well, I've seen this movie before, 12 Years a Slave. If you haven't seen it, phenomenal movie. Obviously, we don't condone slavery, racial injustice, whatever the case may be. We don't mess with that. But that movie was amazing. The man who played as Solomon Northup, I forget the actor's name. He was just in the new Doctor Strange movie. He uh crap, I forget his name, but he also was in a new show I think called Man Fell Down to Earth. I don't know, something around those lines. That guy killed that movie. Yeah, that's on my list of movies that my children have to see in the future. Oh yeah, I don't. So I said I have a movies and shows on watch list. My I also have a list for movies and shows my kids need to see, music and artists in terms of music, like music stars or whoever, like that my kids need to know, and that's kind of what's fun for me is I feel like when I'm a parent is when I think my prime is gonna be. I don't really hang out too much with people my age other than my close friends all that much, and even then I don't hang out with my friends all that much as I could or should, or go out with them as much as I could or should. But I like to plan ahead when it comes to certain things like being a parent. And I have this whole thing set up where it's gonna be kind of like a video game, or kind of like a no, yeah, kind of like a video game, where I give them these like lists, like whether it's like a book or something, and they have all these things, all these movies I gotta see, all these shows I gotta watch, all this music I gotta hear, all this I gotta do, all I gotta try, I gotta eat, and I'm gonna have all this, and when they check it off, it's gonna be like checking off levels in a video game or in a whatever, and it's gonna be great for me because it's gonna feel like I'm experiencing this all over again, which kind of gives you more reason for life and gives you more hope, I guess you could say, and drive to keep going and a reason to continue to be happy in life. And listen, happy isn't necessarily a thing you are. Me, right now, am I happy? I mean, I guess. I mean, I'm not like, yes, like, I'm so happy to be here. Like, yeah. Like, no. Happy isn't necessarily that. Sure, there are instances where you will show that you are happy if you are somebody and somebody proposes to you. Assuming you guys are in love and you truly want to stay together, that's a very happy moment. You're very happy that they proposed. But I would say for me, is if you can go to bed and wake up and not have any anxiety in the world, and you could just go take a piss, go brush your teeth, whatever it is you got to do, whatever your skincare routine is, whatever your morning routine is, and you could do that without an ease in the world, and you're just relaxing, and you could just go to school, go to work, and you're like, it's just another day. Not you're jaded or miserable, but it's just another day, and you're just gonna see what the day offers and holds in store. That is a good day. I've experienced bad days. I've seen people who have had really bad days. Happiness isn't something that it's kind of like one of those things where life is it's literally the journey, not the destination. When you live life, you're not living to try and get into heaven if you're religious. You're living life to the best of your ability, and you want to live it to fulfill the most things you want to fulfill for you, I guess is the best way of putting that. Because you don't want to hold open the door for somebody just to be like, oh, that's another point for me to get into heaven. No, like you want to do it because you want to be a good person and being good. And when you're trying to be the best version of you, that pretty much. I mean, I know for me, it pretty much makes me feel good. And so that's what I look forward to in life. And for me, making lists like these, perfecting my craft when it comes to podcasting, which I'm still learning. I'm just trying to put out one episode at a time and see where this goes, and make sure I'm also doing other things outside of this. And you shouldn't be afraid to do what you want to do as well. I will never stop saying that. Make sure if you have a passion, if you want to start a podcast and you want my help, my input, whatever it is, don't be afraid to reach out before my DMs get a little too booked. I'm looking at some other things that I've seen. 1 hour photo with Robin Williams, excuse me. Really interesting, creepy, psychological type film. About a pretty much just a lonely man who works at a camera store. Very, very interesting movie. Perks of Being a Wallflower with the kid or the guy from the Percy Jackson movie. That was a really good movie. American Beauty, man, that movie was weird. Really good movie, but really weird. I recommend that as well. Let's see, what else have I seen recently. Just want to make sure I haven't. Bleach. So, for those that don't really watch cartoons at all, not that much, there's cartoons and then there's also anime. And I've always been an anime guy, especially because Dragon Ball Z is one of my favorite shows of all time. I have a poster. If you don't know about it, to sum it up, it's pretty much a bunch of martial artists who have these ultra alien-like powers, and their hair changes color when they're angry, and it's badass. So, excuse me, that's what me and my brother grew up watching. And there's so many more different shows like that. And if you have seen a show like Parasite, right? Where, to me, it's a top 5 movie of all time. The way let's just say other countries in this world perceive how shows should be made, or movies and films, like, there's also Squid Game. It's just phenomenal. There's a show, anime called One Piece that's literally it's been going since 1999 and it's still going. And for all of the millions of people that are invested in that show, they're still watching it once a week whenever the episode drops. Like, that is ridiculous, and I plan on watch. It's gonna take at least over a year to catch up, from what I've heard, and I totally agree. So I was watching Bleach, which I was put on to by my one of my boys, and it's pretty much this show about these samurais, I guess you could say, from another realm, and the battles that happen, and the plot, and the arc. It is just. Man, like, if you're into anime or into shows, and that is one you definitely should check out. Right now, I'm starting Naruto. See, the thing while I'm talking about all these cartoons and Marvel and stuff is, look, I've seen just about everything I need to see in terms of American films. And here's the thing, with anime, they have English dub, which is pretty much where you hear the voiceover in English. A lot of people saw Squid Game in dub. Whereas I prefer sub. I prefer listening to it in its original language. But I watch Bleach in dub, which is English. So, like, if you watch Pokemon growing up, you probably watched that in dub, which was English because it was on Cartoon Network. And now I'm watching Naruto, which people say is the best of all time. And that I'm watching in dub as well. I've started to get back on my push-up grind, if you know what I'm talking about. Or if you know what that is. I suggest you get back in your push-up grind as well. At some point throughout the day, I'll just try and bang out like 50 to 100 push-ups. I don't care how long it takes. That is just something that I try to do. Yeah, I'm looking at all these lists I have. Like, I have a bucket list I made back in December. Oh, man. Like, this is the best. See, best Christmas movies. I have this ranked. It's cool to see all of these things that I have going. I have workout schedules and routines that I haven't fulfilled, but I would love to at some point. I have my walk-up songs that I had throughout the softball season. Yeah, it's funny. So, I have a lot of jerseys, as you can see here. Look, I know I don't sound like a hater right now, I used to be a Celtics fan. I'm wearing a Heat jersey, if you can't see, the Miami Vice jerseys, which are sexy. I I grew up a Celtics fan. That was before the Oklahoma City Thunder existed. I also grew up a really big Carmelo Anthony fan. I was a really big fan of him when he went to New York, the Knicks. And one day I was watching a game, and it was the same. This team had the same color scheme as the Knicks, and they were just going crazy. And I was like, dude, this team is sick. I was like, but wait, this is the Knicks. And I was like, this is the Thunder. Oh, like I like these guys. Nobody's really a Thunder fan. Let me join these guys. And so I beloved and fell in love with that team. And I also still had a lot of love for the Celtics. And one of my friends, who I hope to have on this platform at some point, he pretty much told me, you can't like one or the other. You can't like two teams. It doesn't work like that. I was like, okay, since you want to put it that way, I'm leaving the Celtics. Screw them. And it's been really hard to live in a state like Connecticut where everyone around you is just fans of the biggest marketed teams in like on planet Earth. You got Giants fans over here, which I don't have a problem with Giants fans. You got Patriots fans who, gosh, they kill me. Steelers fans who I will never. They're just, oh my God, I don't know who I hate more, Steelers or Patriots fans. You got Cowboys fans who I don't really care for. They piss everyone off. I just don't really care for that. And then you got a few Ravens fans here and there or exotic teams. But for me, Bengals, always been Bengals. I'm the only Bengals fan I've known forever. Now a few of them have come out the wetworks, but I don't really talk to those people. I kind of enjoy embracing the Mandalorian style of sports fandom. So I was an Oklahoma City Thunder fan. I still am. And these Celtics, man, they just keep winning. And if you follow me on Instagram, which you can at MarioMalave _ on Instagram, you can see me posting every series. I do this post of the leader of the team that the Celtics will face. So for the first series, I think it was Kevin Durant, and I put the Undertaker theme song, like the Celtics you're not ready. They ended up sweeping the Nets. Then I said Giannis. They just lost in Game 7 yesterday. I'm recording this on Tuesday. I'll probably release this on Wednesday. I'm recording this on Monday. I'll be releasing this on Tuesday, most likely. Or whenever I feel like it. But I posted Giannis, and they ended up losing in 7, but they didn't have Chris Middleton, so I don't want to hear that if you're a Celtics fan listening. And now they got to face the Heat in the Eastern Conference Finals. And for those that know Al, Big Red, he was the one, a dear friend of mine, he was the one who helped me on he helped me to start this podcast. And he's a Heat fan. I got some other friends who are Celtics fans, and it's kind of like pick your poison. I'm going to go with the Heat, but depending on who comes out or how I feel after the series, I think I might just root for the Warriors if they win, or whoever comes out the West. But see, I'm not really the biggest Luka Doncic fan. He's a beast, no doubt, but I just don't like how people just kind of like suck him off. I don't know. But yeah, so that's been really fun to banter and post and talk crap and have a little fun on social media. I'm telling you, social media, so speaking of social media, for my final presentation, I gave my speech about social media. I ended it with saying, it's a blessing, not a curse. And I truly do believe that. It's all about how you approach it. For me, I have my like count turned off. I could see the likes if I really wanted to, but you can't see them. You, the listener, the viewer, just you as a person, you cannot see my like count unless I physically show you on my phone. So I have that hidden. I have comments turned off on my story. Not that I don't want people commenting if I post something. It's just, it's one of those like mental block things for me that I already got over it, but it's already there. So I'll stick to it. People usually just send my story back to me and then they'll comment, like as in terms of what they're commenting on. So I've had no problem there, and it's been pretty cool. And I don't look at my phone all that often. I saw something. Well, I use my phone to record. But one of my classmates who just graduated, they, for their final speech, showed how the average person spends their time on their phone, like how long they do a day, what the daily average should be, what you could be doing instead of looking at your phone. And so this past week, my daily average was 3 hours and 43 minutes. The previous week, it was like 5 hours, and I thought I was really good. Some people had 9 hours, 10 hours. Like, holy crap. I thought I was bad. I think the daily average for people who spend time on their phone is like 5, 4, maybe. I think it might have been 6, but all I know is I'm in pretty good company compared to some other people, which I'm not even pleased with how I spend time on my phone a lot. But even when I spend time on my phone, it's not like I don't really text people all that often, and I don't really have anything to do on my phone. I just sometimes like to look at a lot of Bengals fan pages I follow on Twitter just to see what they post, because they post a lot of great content. Let's see here. Sorry about that. I was just trying to see something. But there's a lot of great content I follow on social media, and a lot of stuff that's kind of appealing to me. And I don't really get caught up in drama in terms of trying to talk to people or reach out to people. If people reach out to me, I don't really kill myself over trying to worry about if I have to hit somebody up or talk to a chick or not. I'm just going at my own pace, just going with the flow. But yeah, social media, it's okay to unplug. It's okay to go touch some grass. So let's use this as an example of a phone. If you're watching this, you shouldn't be doing this all day. You shouldn't. Look at what this world has to offer. Go outside, go for a walk. You feel a whole lot better about yourself. I know this summer I'm going to be working as a camp counselor, which is nice. Hopefully, I have a lot of fun stuff to talk about when it comes to that. I'm going to be having I'm going to be having on a lot more guests this summer and leading into the fall. I hope to keep updating you on whatever it is going on in my life, and I hope to keep bringing as much entertainment and joy as I can to you guys. You guys are fantastic. Thank you for your patience. I know some people have said, "Oh, you haven't posted in a while, have you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, but don't worry, we're gonna get back into it." And I'm gone. It was only temporary. Well, I'm not gone forever. But with that said, I'll get back to you guys. I know we'll have another post up this week. I should, with a special guest that I'll be having on. But one more time, if you want to subscribe on YouTube, make sure you follow me on all podcast platforms. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Tell people that you think would be interested in just listening to my content. I'd really appreciate that. If you have any people that you know that possibly be interested in coming on or would be a great conversation, and you think that me and them could have a really great talk and can chat it up, don't hesitate. Feel free to throw them my way. But with that said, my heart is with you all. I hope you all have an amazing day. And with that said, ciao for now.